I think most kids did too. Most kids wanted to go to the top of the pops, but we all knew what that cigar muncher was up.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at the dodgiest TV presenters to have gone off the rails in Britain.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
It shouldn't be legal for a 16-year-old to have a relationship with a man in their 30s.
Huw Edwards. He was the BBC's most respected newsreader for years, the man trusted to announce the death of Her Majesty the Queen to the nation.
A few moments ago, Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
But an expose in The Sun revealed that a top BBC broadcaster had potentially been up to no good with an underage boy.
We can now reveal he is the unnamed BBC presenter at the heart of The Sun newspaper's allegations.
A police investigation concluded that there was no evidence that anything illegal had actually happened, and that the teenager in question hadn't wanted to go to the papers or the police. It was his estranged parents, perhaps looking for a big payday from the country's most notorious red top.
Huw is suffering from serious mental health issues, as is well documented. He has been treated for severe depression in recent years.
Regardless, Edwards' career was destroyed, and he ended up in hospital, officially leaving the Beeb in 2024. The BBC later launched an inquiry into itself over the scandal.
Well, we have been trying to ask The Sun some of those questions posed over the last few days, but their response so far has been no comment.
James Corden. It's difficult now to imagine a time when anybody had respect for James Corden, but he was a popular face in British television for years before he ran off to America.
How many Nurofen would I need to finish me off?
You? You'd need hundreds.
I can't afford that, can I? Not if I'm going to have an holiday this year.
Thanks to the astronomical success of Gavin and Stacey, co-created with Ruth Jones, Corden became a household name. But slowly, his career prospects in Blighty began to erode after his falling out with Matt Horn.
Yeah, but don't keep a distance. Famous people.
Corden went off to LA and became the most irritating late-night host in the business, becoming despised in America for his arrogant and obnoxious attitude.
I wish I could wear one of those, you know, those biker jackets, the leather biker jackets, they're sort of cropped. Yeah. They've got sort of like a buckle here.
He's since returned to the UK and is planning one last hurrah for Gavin and Stacey in 2024, which remains his only saving grace.
I don't know. All I'm saying is there's some graffiti on a toilet brush in the men's cubicle at the Rose and Crown, which I reckon is aimed at me.
What's it say?
Smithy was here.
Phillip Schofield.
And did you ever tell Holly Willoughby?
No, God no. That's a bigger question.
Scof was already becoming unpopular thanks to rumours from co-presenters, namely Fern Britton and Amanda Holden, that he's vindictive and difficult to work with. But things took a major turn for him in 2023.
How old was he when he first said to you, I'm interested in television? Was he 18 by that point?
19 then.
Having come out as gay 3 years previously, he was forced to admit that he'd been having an affair with a 20-year-old male runner on the set of This Morning.
When the rumour got bigger, then we were both asked.
The whole thing was, in Scof's own words, unwise but not illegal, but it had already been investigated internally by ITV to fervent denials from Schofield and the young man in question. He resigned completely from ITV, although in hindsight, the media frenzy does seem out of proportion.
What was unwise was the fact that it happened, and that was a very, very grave error.
Eamonn Holmes.
First of all, the National Television Awards, there is this event which you've got to understand This Morning, under the guise of Philip and Holly, is a very false existent.
Another ex-This Morning host, Holmes and Ruth Langsford, were dropped from the show back in 2021, with ITV claiming that viewers could no longer relate to the duo. He didn't take this lying down, attacking ITV bosses and accusing them of being, quote, woke, and of cancelling him over a comment he'd made about more research needing to be done into whether 5G was causing the COVID pandemic.
But what I don't accept is mainstream media immediately slapping that down as not true when they don't know it's not true.
In May 2024, the country was shocked by the announcement that Holmes and Langsford were divorcing after 27 years together.
Just before we move on, I'd just like to thank people for your support for Ruth and I over the last few days as to the news of our separation.
After his ITV axing, Holmes had moved over to contentious broadcaster GB News, which has been found many times to be in breach of Ofcom rules. Chris Evans.
I'm very happy. I'm in my happy place.
You're in your happy place! Though he was massively popular in the 1990s thanks to his presenting gigs on BBC Radio 1 and on Channel 4 with TFI Friday, he's done plenty of things that have left the public feeling cold.
Hi, honey. How are you? Mwah. Nice rooftop. You like it?
First was his ill-advised marriage to Billie Piper, with the pair tying the knot when she was 18 and he was 35. Unsurprisingly, this didn't last long.
It was at that exact moment that I knew we would meet, fall in love, get married and get divorced.
Right.
I knew that!
But faith in Evans was further depleted when he took over the reins of Top Gear alongside Matt LeBlanc. The public despised him, and supposedly, so did LeBlanc himself. It's alleged he refused to sign for another series if Evans was still there. Subsequently, Evans quit.
Stepping down from Top Gear. Gave it my best shot, but sometimes that's not enough.
Jeremy Kyle. Perhaps you could argue that very few people respected Jeremy Kyle in the first place, but somebody must have done in order for him to have such a stranglehold on daytime TV for the better part of 20 years.
Yeah, I absolutely am aware of that. That's wrong.
Why has it taken you 15 years to deal with it then?
He's so condescending. He's so disrespectful.
Members of the public must have respected him too, because they kept signing up to go on his show, thinking that they might genuinely get some help or be able to resolve some grievances. Instead, Kyle paraded the country's underclass in front of the nation, mocking them relentlessly and subjecting them to dubious lie detector tests.
Jeremy was incredibly nasty, really just demeaning.
And he would make comments to us about the guests, like insinuating that they were thick or that they were scruffs.
When news broke that a former guest had taken his own life, his show was axed. Kyle's still trying to make a career over on Talk TV, however.
But I could never cheat on you. I really did go on the Jeremy Kyle show to prove to you I never cheated on you, but it all went wrong. Love you forever, your Steve.
Michael Barrymore. We don't know what happened in Michael Barrymore's swimming pool on that fateful night in 2001, and if Barrymore is to be believed, neither does he.
All three were released without charge. But the damage to Michael's career seemed irreversible.
Following the tragic death of Stuart Lubbock at Barrymore's home that year, Barrymore's career catastrophically ended, with years of police investigations following. Barrymore was arrested and questioned numerous times, but was never charged, and later sued Essex Police for wrongful arrest.
Michael Parker, me, has an alibi from 3 people in the period immediately prior to the discovery of Stuart in the pool. I therefore conclude that there is insufficient evidence against all 3 suspects.
Once Britain's top TV presenter, Barrymore has tried and failed to revive his career many times, including appearing on Celebrity Big Brother in 2005. But with Lubbock's death still unsolved, Barrymore remains persona non grata in the UK.
The truth about this, Michael, isn't it, is that we may never know the truth.
Yes.
Russell Brand.
Come on! Everyone does it. Don't be afraid of your own sexuality. Do be a bit afraid of mine, though.
He's been damaged by many scandals over the years, notably the Saxgate phone-in scandal that saw his career as a mainstream radio and TV presenter all but end. But in 2023, a joint investigation between Channel 4 and The Times and The Sunday Times was published, with numerous lengthy, credible allegations from various women about Brand's outrageous behaviour over the years.
Obviously, he was the presenter and I was a runner. I wasn't going to tell anyone what he'd done because I didn't want to lose my job.
As of 2024, the Met and Thames Valley Police both have open investigations into Brand. He's denied the allegations, but if you still had some respect left for him after Saxgate and his controversial stand-up career, it was likely completely erased after this.
He was allowed to say the unsayable, he was allowed to do the unthinkable, and consistently got away with it.
Jimmy Savile.
When did public attitude start to change about Jimmy Savile? You may have said after the ITV documentary last week. You'd be wrong.
While there were plenty of people trying to blow the whistle on Savile for decades, he was regarded highly enough during his lifetime that he got a knighthood.
I bet he's into all kinds of seediness.
that they all know about, they're not allowed to talk about.
That all changed in 2012, when, finally, Savile's crimes were brought to light by his victims, no longer scared of the repercussions they might face from his protectors at the BBC. In hindsight, it's astonishing that he had the career that he did, when so many people both in entertainment and the general public had always been able to tell that he was a wrong'un.
Would you like her to wear anything in particular, Sir Jimmy?
I'd actually prefer her to wear nothing.
Anyone who needed the scandal to come out definitely lost respect not just for Savile, who never faced punishment for his crimes, but for the BBC itself. Rolf Harris.
You can join today.
At least Rolf Harris, unlike Jimmy Savile, lived long enough to see his career utterly destroyed by his own actions after decades of getting away with it. It was in the fallout of the Savile scandal that other top entertainers from the 70s came under police scrutiny, with Rolf Harris going on trial for historic sex offences in 2014.
For decades, the children's TV presenter had hidden in plain sight, even fronting this safety campaign to warn kids about predatory adults.
He was found guilty on a dozen counts, going to prison for 3 years, before being put on trial again for even more offences. By 2022, though, Harris had terminal cancer, ultimately succumbing to it the following year. Almost every honour he received was revoked before his death.
Other touches give you a no feeling. It's like, no, I don't know why I don't like that, but I'm not too sure about that at all.
Let us know in the comments which of these famous faces you always had a bad feeling about.
I've got a assistant called... Part of her job description is that anyone I demand she greets, meets, massages, she has to do it. She's very attractive, Jimmy.